Let's begin. So today's session is basically an info session. Now, the info session is going to be sharing with you like what is AI software engineering and what our bootcamp actually entails and why we actually are going in this direction as well. So what I'll be sharing and walking you through in this session is also going to be the same exact playbook that we take our students coming in to the bootcamp to go from zero to job ready in 3 months. So a lot of our students have no prior experience whatsoever. So this is how we are actually able to give them that structured roadmap and also guide them through how they actually can be an AI software engineer, right? So just some quick introduction. If the slides are working. All right, so who am I, right? So I know a lot of you guys, this is probably your first time like hearing about Sigmaschool and seeing me, my face. So you guys might be wondering, who am I? So just a quick introduction before and why you should listen to me for the next 60 minutes. So my name's Emil, Emil Liao. I graduated with a degree in robotics engineering. Now, although graduating with this particular degree, I did not have any coding experience whatsoever. Because when I graduated, COVID hit and I couldn't find a job related to my major. So it was very limited. And I was lucky enough to actually land a job in software. Although knowing very little experience, I basically was self-taught during COVID, learned software and found a job as a software developer. And I was a software developer ever since and have been working professionally for 5 years, 5+ years now as a software developer. Now I'm currently the admissions and also automations lead here in Sigmaschool. So basically that is my experience and why I'm able to also share with you like these details and what we do in Sigmaschool, right? So that's who I am. Now, who is Sigmaschool? For those that have never heard of us, Sigmaschool is basically the top coding bootcamp in Southeast Asia. So we are basically running this coding bootcamp to help anyone that's looking to enter into tech, regardless of any prior experience that you might have, right? So if you have no experience, we will be able to guide you, and that is something that we're looking to, and this is why we are actually the top coding bootcamp in Southeast Asia. So what actually makes us a top coding bootcamp is, so I'm going to show you some results and let the results speak for itself, right? Since starting in 2022 and late 2022 and 2023, what we've actually done is we have actually graduated 50+, over 50 graduates, and now we are actually going to be graduating a batch soon by end of this month. So we've over 50 graduates that are currently, since joining our bootcamp, have actually been working in tech regardless of their experience. And we also received a 98% of 5-star ratings across Google and Course Report combined, right? So we have 90% of total satisfaction rate in terms of everything that they're coming through student support, the experience, the learning portal, the technology that we use, our instructor, the speed, the cadence of like lessons, and also and so forth. So everything from the feedback are all given by real humans. They are students that are actually experiencing the bootcamp and have completed the bootcamp as well, right? So we have also worked, we're currently working with like 50+ top enterprising hiring partners. Basically, we're looking to increase our numbers as well as we go along. Basically, how we actually do this is these hiring partners are in need for tech talents and working with us because we graduate tech talents that are actually with real life experience and also real world project knowledge. So this is where these hiring partners are actually looking to hire people with the practical skills and actually the skills to create products, to be able to solve problems, and to be able to help the businesses. So this is what we actually do with our graduates as well. So we actually point them to the right direction and which company is actually looking to hire them as well. So we've also been openly sharing our journey, sharing our progress since we started. So as you can see, we've actually been documenting our journey in and been featured in a couple of press as well. So we are an open company. We share all the things that we're doing, new development, new changes, and also today I'll be sharing you some of the changes that we've actually been doing since our bootcamp as well. So you can see like BFM, Astro, Welcome Coach, The Edge. You can actually go ahead and read us on these different press notes as well. So main topic of today is going to be AI, and one of the things that we realized that we focus on coding, we focus on software engineering, but now like just being a software engineer, just knowing how to code, what we see right now in the industry standard is that in itself is not going to be enough. Now, the reason being is with the advancement of AI, I think everybody knows, right? Like just having one skill right now is not going to be enough. And all companies right now are actually looking to hire people with not just the skill sets, but also with integrating AI into whatever they know, their domain knowledge. So this is what we call domain knowledge, right? So you can see a lot of like position shifts, a lot of change in the market, and a lot of like with change, there's always going to be a lot of fear. That's why market shifts. Everyone's always in the unknown, and everyone feels like everything is uncertain, right? But today, I'm going to tell you what you're actually standing out and what we actually see in companies and why some people are actually still getting hired and, in fact, getting paid more, right? So one of the things that we notice is that companies right now are hiring people that are not mediocre. Right. So it's no longer like, okay, graduate from a degree and I'll be able to find a job. Right. So just knowing something or having domain knowledge in any particular field, it can be in software, it can be in engineering, it can be in medicine, right? Just knowing that knowledge in itself right now to get hired is not going to be enough. What we call is domain knowledge. So the skill that you currently have and build, right? That is having domain knowledge. So that's still very important and still much needed, right? You can't do the work if you don't know what you're doing, right? The next thing that we notice is that instead of like having just domain knowledge, right, to be able to actually get hired right now, you need artificial intelligence skill set, right? So it's actually stacking it on top of what you already know. So it's making you as an employee much more efficient and someone that can actually produce results much more quicker and also with a lot of accuracy as well. Right. One of the things that we see that a lot of these companies are actually hiring is not just the skill sets of, oh, I know how to use this AI tool, but it's because how quick AI is advancing. Next month, you can have like a patch note that pretty much makes everything much more easy, and everything they've learned can be totally reduced by a few clicks of a button, right? So right now, it's actually looking for people that are having critical thinking. Like they can actually go and adapt with anything that comes their way, and problems, for example, new tools, new AI models, new anything, they are able to use and like adapt in the situation, still having the skill sets of their domain knowledge and still having the skill sets of actually using AI properly, right? So with that comes and having this continuous learning, having this continuous skill set that you're always continually growing and adapting. This is what we call mastery. So when you're continuously adapting, continuously using your domain knowledge and also improving, because as you integrate, as you build, the more you build, the more you learn, the more you practice. That's how you actually reach mastery quicker, right? Everything I say makes sense so far?
Yes.
Right. If everyone's cool, give me a thumbs up. Just don't want it to like fly over anyone's head. Okay, cool. Right. All right. So I'm going to share with you like some of the researches that we've actually not done by ourselves, but also research that data that has actually been gathered by other people. And one of the things we notice is like, why are there so many of these changes and why are the industry changes, right? And it's all around this topic, AI. So AI is basically reshaping every single industry and every single sector, right? Creating opportunities that usually that you've never heard of before, right? Sure, there is going to be a lot of like change. When there's change, there will be reduction of something, but an increase of something, right? So there's going to be a huge shift. And one thing we notice is there's certain people that is going to be having a huge career acceleration, right? And these few people are the ones that actually know how to, like what I mentioned, the skill set earlier, is the ones that actually have domain knowledge and also the AI capabilities to adapt and also help them advance in their careers, right? So right now, imagine having like 10 coders, average coders that can do the task in 1 week. Right now, with the help of AI, 2 coders, really good coders, just need AI, and they'll be able to do a task of what 10 average coders can do in a week in just a couple of days, or maybe and hours, right? So this is how career advancement and acceleration actually goes to the people that actually have the skill sets and the domain knowledge as well, right? Those that can actually be the forefront of innovation and growth will be the ones that adapt and have additional skill stack. So it's a universal application, and it's able to use in any industry and everywhere, right? It can be in like sales, marketing, it can be in delivery, it can be in media, anything, right? That's why AI is actually required pretty much in every new sector and is disrupting the entire market, right? So it goes beyond just coding, or it goes beyond just like regular prompting, or just treating it like a Google browser. So it's much more powerful than that, where you can actually replace people or mediocre tasks. You can actually assign it like different things. And right now, pretty much the sky is somewhat the limit right now. Right. Of course, there's still going to be a lot more improvements, but this is what we're actually looking as things progress, as things improve. Much more change is going to happen at a drastic speed as well. Now, this is the topic that we're actually going to be focusing on right now. Everyone here, if you guys are techies, I believe you guys are. That's why you guys are actually signing up and looking on how AI is affecting and what is AI software engineering. So for those that are not familiar, this is actually a study by Stack Overflow. So Stack Overflow is basically the forum where all the developers and professional developers will go to. Now, if you have any questions about coding, whether you're a working professional, whether you're a student, anything coding related, Stack Overflow is the place to go where people ask questions and professionals and developers will be able to help. So the community of developers there is very strong. And this is actually the survey they actually done on 2025. So they actually asked all these developers, working professionals, freelancers, students, and non-professionals as well. They asked them, do you currently use AI tool in your current development process, right? As you can see, a lot of them are actually using AI tool and they understand the importance of it. Some use it on a daily basis. In fact, 47% use it on a daily basis. And then 17% use it on a weekly, and then 13 on a monthly, and so on and so forth, right? So as you can see, like working professionals and all the coders are actually using it because they see a need and it actually can help with their development process, right? The next question is that, to what extent do you agree with the following statement regarding the impact of AI agents? As AI agents advance, right, there's also going to be some uncertainty, some fear, and also some change, right, some improvements. So when asked this question, do they feel like AI agents have reduced the time spent on specific development tasks? So if you see here, blue and red means it's positive, right? So and with that question, you can see more than half of them actually agree and strongly agree, in fact, that AI actually helped them speed up the time for development, for creating new features as a developer, right? As a software developer, right? AI agents have increased the productivity, making it, because it's deploying so fast, they can do it much more efficiently and makes them much more productive. Some things that you have to do it in 1 week, you can probably do it in a single day, right? Agents have improved the quality of code. This still needs a lot of improvement. And here, the worst one that you can see right now is agents have improved the collaboration within teams. Now, the reason why this is not strongly agreed on with developers is because when you're working with team, this is what we see. Sure, you might have a domain knowledge, you might have AI experience, but working as a team still comes down to people. So communication, AI can only help you so much, but AI cannot solve everything, right? So communication, it still has to come down to personal relationship with your team and stuff. So this is where companies are also looking people with interpersonal skills. So sure, you have domain knowledge, you have AI skills, you get hired, but what keeps you in the company is going to be communication and your interpersonal skills, right? Now, the next question is, in the future, if AI can do most of the coding tasks, in what situation would you still want to ask a person? So this is when AI can do a bunch. When do developers feel that they need to actually look for a person for like help or anything like that, right? So this is when they say, right, where they only look for a human. If AI can do everything, they will look for a human when they don't trust AI. So trust is still a huge thing, right? If they don't trust the answer in AI, they'll go for someone, a key figure person that is what has really good domain knowledge in that specific field, right? When it is ethical and security concerns, right? When they want to fully understand something. So this tells us that for someone to actually understand something, humans still relate to humans the most, and this is why you always want someone to be able to teach you, or actually someone to be able to guide you, a person, a key figure person that would be able to answer your questions, right? When they want to learn the best practices, when they are stuck, and when they need fixing a complex problem. In fact, a complex problem is when they almost half of them still want to actually find a physical human being to actually ask questions, right? So this is a very interesting study. So from all that I've mentioned so far, you can see that there is pros and cons using AI tools. Of course, AI is not perfect, right? But at the end of the day, what we see is AI is still a tool, right? So for example, we like to give the analogy, or I like to give the analogy, like AI is a tool, and it's just like this example is a knife. So of course, this image is AI prompted. So can everyone see this picture? If everyone can see this picture, give me a thumbs up. Now, does anyone see any difference between the knives? The pictures are actually knives, right? So does anyone see, does anyone see a difference between the knives in this picture, with the hands that are holding, right? Can anyone tell me what the difference are? No. So basically, these are the same knives, right? So AI is like a tool, and a knife is also a tool, right? So it depends on how you use it. So in the far left example, you can see like a smaller hand. What this depicts is actually a baby. So if you pass a knife to a baby, it's the baby thinks it's a toy and can actually either hurt itself, or it can hurt others as well, right? But in the middle one, if you pass it to an adult, let's say a chef, if a chef has a knife in his hand, that is going to be an essential tool for his specific craft. So a chef would actually use the knife to cut food and actually do his craft, right? Being a chef. Now, on the right side is where you're seeing a knife placed in the hand of a soldier. Now, the same exact knife in the hands of a soldier, it will actually be either a weapon for protection, or it's actually a weapon to attack, right? So AI is the same thing. It's just ultimately a tool. Nothing changes about it, and everyone is able to have access to the same AI tool. Now it depends on how you use it and who's actually using it. So AI is a tool, and you would actually to actually make AI useful, you would have to be the one to actually know how to use AI, right? Does it make sense? If that makes sense, thumbs up. If not, I'll probably need to give a better example. All right, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you, Jane. All right, so this is a study actually done by LinkedIn. This is the work change report last year, 2025. So they actually did a study on the new roles that actually never existed in the early 2000s, sorry, not 20s, early 2000s. So for some roles, you can actually see that these are actually very common roles from by now, right? Data analyst, full stack engineer, front-end developer, web developer, data engineer, right? So these are roles that actually never existed in 2000. And this is when the internet was actually booming, when when everyone's pretty much hopping online, these positions were popping up, right? Right now, those are positions that are very common, right? And with AI being the new advancement in technology, the study actually shows that there's a lot of change, and LinkedIn has all the pretty much one of the best resource of data when it comes to hiring. So through their data, they actually found that globally 300% have increased, and increased by 30% in itself from last fall. Right, this is 2025, and it increased by 30% due to AI hiring. Right, so as you can see, it is a phase of AI, and it's going to be impacting any workplace environment. So it's not just tech, but globally in all kinds of positions as well. So professionals that actually lean into technology, this is what they actually say right here. So in this, professionals who lean into technology are now the ones that will actually succeed, right? So which totally aligns with what we actually see hiring and employers are actually doing right now. The people that don't just have like domain knowledge, but they actually lean into AI, those are the people that would actually succeed and get hired, right? They are the ones that are getting promoted. So even in this skill-based hiring report, this is what actually quite interesting and what's found by LinkedIn is that if now these are numbers that when country actually goes by skill-based hiring, which a lot of the companies are right now doing it because they realize that skill-based hiring is where it actually is able to see the best results. So it's not about credentials, it's not about what you have on paper, but it's actually what you can actually deliver in the job, right? If you have someone that cannot do the job, they are not suited for the job, right? So as you can see, Malaysia is also on the list down here. It's pretty small. Let's see if I can highlight this over here, right? So over here, you can see Malaysia. Now, with the skill-based hiring, which a lot of companies are doing right now, with the skill-based hiring, they are actually able to increase the talent pool by 4.2 times. This is not percent. There's 4.2 times just by skill-based hiring because this actually eliminates the filtering process of actually who can actually do the work. And by doing so, they are actually able, Malaysia would actually improve 4.2 times. And this is where companies will actually retain better talents and also be able to have better results because they'll be able to retain the proper talents that will deliver them good results, right? So this is another study by LinkedIn, Labor Report, Market Report 2026 this year, right? With AI advancing and all this data centers being created, right? There are actually globally new jobs, 1.3 million new jobs globally, right? And data annotators have driven most of the job creations, right? So roles like forward deployed engineers are actually the ones that will be creating the first line of new jobs. So as you can see, exponential growth since 2023 is actually 42 times for forward deployed engineers, and AI engineers, specific AI engineers, is actually 13 times since 2023, right? Okay, let me go on to the next one. So let's see, am I able to go on? Okay, so now this is also the same report in itself because of the data centers, and I think Malaysia is also building a lot of data centers right now, right? With the rapid investment, right? Data center jobs with new data centers actually constantly getting created to actually service and to be able to have like more data included for AI, because AI needs a lot of data to be able to come up with the best results and store information that is their knowledge bank, right? So with data centers actually creating 100,000 new jobs globally in the past year. So back in 2025, they've already created 600,000 new jobs. In a large scale, cloud providers are actually the ones that are creating these new jobs, right? Let me just accept Mila in. Hello, hello. Right, so let's continue. So the large scale cloud providers are the top data center job creators. As you can see, these are the percentages, and a lot of people think that, okay, they are reducing their team size, but there's a reason, but these numbers are actually increasing. Now, why is that? So they are actually, this goes back to the saying of what I shared just now, right? The ones that are actually getting hired and the ones that are getting left behind are the difference. It's not just domain knowledge, but actually also how you actually adapt and use AI in your specific roles, right? So as you can see, software engineer, there is actually an increase of hires, which is 3%, right? They're actually looking for more software engineers, but not just regular software engineers. They're looking for new age software engineers that actually not just know how to code, but actually know how to use AI and help them code much more faster, much more efficiently. In the same report, foundational model companies are actually adding headcount of their employments aggressively. And you can see here, it actually increases 92%, right? 92%. AI hardware is actually increased by 25%. AI tech platforms, these are the industry specific, they are increasing by percentages, right? 92% by foundational models, right? They're looking for people to actually build these new AI tools, build the knowledge bank and stuff like that, right? So as you can see here, with the increased prioritization, companies are actually looking for people that know how to use AI, right? I think right now, if you go to LinkedIn, you can search for, or any other job searching platform, you guys can probably see like the common trend, right? It's not just about the skill set right now. If you are looking, for example, software engineer, one of the requirements is going to be AI literacy. Right? If you're looking for a marketer, it's like you have to be an AI marketer, or you're looking for, let's say, accountant, you have to know how to like use different tools to be able to stand out, right? And from this report in itself, you can see AI literacy is the number one skill set that a lot of the companies are actually prioritizing. And you see the first position and the first role that they're actually prioritizing on is software engineers. Of course, product managers and CEO, they are looking for a higher value, a higher level view of the company. But on the low level is where software engineers are the ones that actually need AI literacy, right? This is where we see that coding in itself is not going to be enough, but also having AI skill is where you're going to stand out and what is required in this new age of software engineering, right? So with that said, I'm not just here to scare you and give you the data and say like, okay, now you need AI, but I'm also going to show you like the roadmap on what we actually do inside our own bootcamp that actually helps our student get the results that they want, and also get employed, right? Okay. Give me 1 second. I think there's a question in the chat. What is AI literacy? AI literacy is basically your knowledge in AI. Like if someone, if you need to do a task, do you know how to use AI to help you do a task? Do you understand what are AI models? Do you understand what AI is able to do, what AI agents is? Do you know how they function? And do you know how you actually integrate it within whatever workflow that you're actually currently doing? That is AI literacy, right? Basically, in short term, is knowing how to use AI and knowing what AI is. That's what it means, right? Right, cool. All right, so back to the roadmap. So this is the roadmap that we internally use inside our bootcamp to get our students, even with no coding experience, even with no domain knowledge, if they're coming in from fresh, right? This is how we actually guide them on the basis to be able to be job ready and actually land jobs right now in this current age where everyone's looking for outstanding engineers, outstanding people that know AI, right? So we're going to break it down in a couple of steps. So the first step is going to be learn and practice. So one thing we notice is that a lot of people are trying to learn, which is a good thing, but they're learning it the wrong way. Now, to actually build like mastery and to actually learn the skill sets, it's not just watching. This is where we see a lot of people fall prey into what we call tutorial hell. Has anyone heard of that? Has anyone like fall victim to that, where you guys would sit back, okay, Faiz understands, where you guys would sit, you want to learn something new, where you watch a video, and then you watch a bunch of videos, the same videos, you can watch a ton. Maybe you take 1 week, you watch a couple of hours of videos trying to learn something, but then later on, when you come back, when you actually think back on what you actually learned, you actually realize that you didn't really learn much, right? This is what we call the tutorial hell, right? So what we teach our students is not just to watch videos and pretty much be idle, right? Watching and learning, this experience is actually going to have to incorporate with practicing as well. So whenever you watch a video, what we actually advocate for is don't just watch it, but actually do something and actually do whatever you're watching. So for example, if you're learning something new, it doesn't have to be coding in itself, but what we teach is coding. So I'm just going to give an example in what we teach, which is coding. So when you're watching like a coding tutorial, don't just watch it, but actually code along. Try to actually build whatever you're watching. So it's actually the building process and the practicing, trying to solve the problem on the fly, solving new problems. That is when the actual learning process actually happens. And this is where it actually retains the skill set in you, right? So it's not just watching videos, but it's actually learning and practicing, right? So the next step is, because you're learning and practicing, you're building stuff. With building stuff, you actually want to build new things, and with more new things, what we actually can create is, because when you're creating projects, what we do is we would actually structure the curriculum so that every time you're building a new project, that is a project that you can actually add into your portfolio, right? So having a portfolio of projects when you want to apply for jobs, this is something that you can actually show the employer in one single glance, and it actually stands out for someone that actually does the work and someone that says they do the work. So there's two different things. One is you're showing what you've actually done. So this is the power of a portfolio. And in the bootcamp, building, learning along the way, and you're building these projects, this is where you're able to build not just the experience, not just practice and actually learn and retain what you've learned, but also build a project that you can actually use as leverage when you apply for the jobs, right? And it's also having like assessment on yourself to know like where your level is at right now, and also what you need to actually continuously practice, right? So the third thing is also when you're actually applying for jobs. So now this is once you have a nice portfolio, once you've already done a lot of assessment, you know that, okay, you're ready, you have the skill set, you have the domain knowledge, you know AI literacy, you have already gained mastery. Now it's actually to land a career, right? To start your career in like whatever company that you're thinking of. So the one thing that we actually want our students to do is that we'll first create your personalized resume. We revamp it to make it like interesting, so that the employees, something that the employees would actually want to see and would actually want to hire, right? We'll practice interviews. So don't just go to interviews, apply for jobs, and then when you have an interview, just go unprepared. So one thing we want our students to do is always be prepared. It's because you get a couple of chances only, right? With that company, if you fail the interview, most likely it'll be very hard to reschedule another interview, right? So this is where your first impression matters, and you want to actually practice, especially in a technical role like coding. You would actually need to code live. You actually need to answer technical questions. So this is where mock interview and practices come very importantly, right? And of course, continuously job applications, right? I think we see a lot of like, especially fresh graduates or even working adults, whenever they want to apply for jobs, they are just merely not applying enough. This is where you always need to continuously apply and pretty much stack your options available. Then next is, of course, once you have landed an opportunity, you pass the interview and you receive the offer letter, is to actually land your dream job and start your dream job. Now, this is not where it ends, right? Sure, you can start your dream job, but now it's where actually the learning process still continues. So landing a dream job is one thing, but keeping your dream job is another thing. This is where it goes back to number one, where you always still need to have that continuous learning and practicing. This is where in the bootcamp, we cover mainly the fundamentals and principles that actually will carry forward. So it's not just fancy syntax or anything that would actually not be able to be important in the future, but these are the principles that would actually carry forward even with AI advancement as well. Because without these principles, AI would not know what you want, or without these principles, you don't even know how to use AI for coding itself, right? So even landing your dream career, continuous learning and continuous practice in coding itself, right? So inside this curriculum, what we actually cover is going to be broken down into module basis. So what students actually do before we have our live lessons. So this is going to be in the span in the bootcamp, in the immersive cohort. Now, what we do is 3 months. It's going to be intensive. It's going to be very immersive, where you're going to get a lot of hands-on, and you're going to pretty much be learning a lot of new things, right? So before anything starts, what we do to have students to pretty much warm up their gears, because we don't want to throw you in the ocean without teaching you how to swim. So we want to warm you guys up with like module 0, where our students will be able to first prep themselves with 6 simple projects in 6 days, and then forward with covering the fundamentals. This is where you learn the core principles and also know the basics of what makes coding important and how coding actually works, right? Then it will be module 2, where we cover front-end development on how actually AI is actually creating these beautiful UIs. And for example, sure, you can use vibe coding, you can create like beautiful websites, but when you look at the code at what AI actually generated, if you want to make some changes, this is where it's between someone that knows how to code and someone that doesn't know how to code, that person will be able to use AI much more quicker because he understands the code behind it and he knows what to actually pinpoint and what to actually ask it to do specifically, right? So one single prompt can do the job for the person with domain knowledge. Maybe the person without domain knowledge probably have to go through like multiple iterations, right? And then module 3 would be backend focused. So everything from like APIs, server, cloud hosting, deploy, security, and stuff. We also cover like full stack, where you're actually going to be building an application. So like I mentioned, it's going to be hands-on. It's going to be you actually building projects, right? And you understand the ins and out of actually what it takes to deploy an application, what actually it takes to actually bring an application and make it a SaaS, right? Like Instagram or like Twitter, right? What actually makes them so robust and what stands out from big applications and small applications. Then we also have AI Week, where you focus purely on AI. Now that you've learned the fundamental skills, now you have the domain knowledge. What we do is we skill stack. So once you have the foundation, we then stack it with AI skills and actually integrating AI, like how do you actually make an application, a smart application? Like even WhatsApp has like Meta AI integrated in there, right? So this is where we will walk you through, and you would actually need to include it. Students would need to include AI into their final project to graduate from the bootcamp. Then we have career services to be able to help you make sure that you are able to first like revamp your resume, your strategy, how you outreach to these people, how do you actually present yourself, how do you answer your questions, mock interviews and stuff. Post-graduation module, because like I mentioned, it's not just landing your dream job, but it's also how you keep your dream job. So it's always additional learnings and also post-graduation modules to keep your practice going and assessment as well, right? Basically, who is this bootcamp for? Now, if you guys see any of these positions and you resonate with it, that's basically your student. This basically tells you that you are eligible and qualified to actually join the bootcamp. So if you are a beginner with no prior experience, this is where we structure it in a way that you don't need any coding experience in the past to join this bootcamp, right? Career changes, people that actually want to start from completely fresh, that have like a different career path, right? Non-technical professionals, recent graduates, freelancers, entrepreneurs, pretty much anyone with different walks of life. As long as you have the heart to actually put in the work to learn coding and you actually like technology, this bootcamp is suitable for you, right? So everything clear so far? Am I going too fast? Anyone has any questions? If everyone's cool, give me a thumbs up, then I'll go ahead and continue. Cool. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Mikhail. All right. So we've seen a lot of like career success from our students and graduates. So some of the career outcomes you can actually expect from the AI engineering bootcamp is going to be an AI enhanced developer and engineer. So this is where we don't just teach you the technical skills on how to actually code, but how you actually build and leverage AI with your coding knowledge as well. Right. This is where it's the currently one of the highest demand, especially in software engineering. So no longer they are looking for regular software developers and engineers. They're only going to be looking for software engineers and developers that have AI skills. So you have to include AI skills into your resume or into your skill set, right? So you can also be an AI project manager or product manager. This is where you're actually going to be cross-functional teams between departments, where you're actually managing both technical and non-technical people, and you're able to see how AI impacts and bridges these two departments and actually help the business grow technology-wise, right? Because right now, a lot of businesses, whether you can think like it or not, a lot of businesses, as long as you're using technology, you're considered a technology company, and you would need to have technology knowledge, right? You need AI literacy. Now, if you want to be a tech entrepreneur, which we actually do have a lot of startup founders that actually join our bootcamp, because if you want to start a SaaS, if you want to start a software company, you first need to actually have the fundamentals to know what you're actually starting, right? So tech entrepreneurs and AI product builders, this is some of the career outcomes after graduating. We've seen a lot of, so tech entrepreneurs, you can, some of them actually are tech entrepreneurs, and without technical experience, they come to the bootcamp and do build that tech experience, right? So AI enhanced business professionals, like I said, AI is pretty much everywhere. It's in every single sector, it's every single department, right? It's used everywhere right now, even in accounting, law, anything. This is where having the AI literacy and having to understand coding helps you build that foundation of what's the skeleton behind AI as well. This is where it become a business professional, integration specialist, where they can be like different roles like marketing, sales, product, data analyst, anything you can think of, right? So as you can see from our student success, these are just a few that we chose from different backgrounds. We have so many other like music teachers, we have like singers, we have composers, there's so many different ones. We have like artists, we have construction workers. So as you can see in the picture here, medical doctor, student, operations, coach, all of them pretty much came to us without any experience before in the past. Coming to this bootcamp, they pretty much landed their new position as like software engineers in different companies, right? X-Rail, Grab, CFG, Money Match, right? So these are some of the projects that you can see. These are actually created by students themselves. And you would actually know how to actually create, and you would actually deploy them. So this is where you would actually build the experience and also know what's the deploying process like CI/CD. This is where you actually build a portfolio, like I mentioned just now, to actually share it with your employers to be able to catch their attention and to showcase your skill set, because you do have the skill set and you show it in a way that you've actually built it. So practical skills that they can actually see and verify that, okay, this person actually has the skills, right? So just some FAQs. Do I need prior experience to succeed in this bootcamp? Like I mentioned, no. So most of our students graduated, pretty much started from scratch. No backgrounds. It doesn't matter where you start, but it matters whether you follow the roadmap, whether you're actually building that consistency and building. We actually focus this whole entire bootcamp for beginners, and how to actually get you the most important skill sets, the fundamental principles that would actually stay, and what helps you stand out to be able to land a job as quick as possible as well, right? Another question is, how do I know if I actually can get a job? Now, this is where it gets interesting and fun, right? So if you graduate and you still don't get a job, what we have is a money back guarantee, right? So that's how confident we are with the system that we've built. And we've built it since the start, having this as well. And we can make this promise because we have seen so many results and we have the knowledge of what actually the employers and tech hirers are actually looking for. So with the results that we actually show, we are actually that confident that we'll be able to land your job. If not, worst case scenario, we will actually just give you a full refund, right? So this isn't AI. Isn't AI going to replace developers anyways? So no, for those that are being worried that AI will replace software developer, why do I need learn coding and stuff? Like from the study in itself, right? AI is replacing developers, correct, but not all developers. So the ones that are actually staying are the ones that are getting promoted, and the ones that are getting hired are the ones that actually know how to leverage AI, not be replaced by AI, right? So the ones that actually can build with AI and have the same and have good domain knowledge, they are the ones that would actually be looking, either companies are fighting for them or have like crazy bonuses. I think there's been a word around that it's like 100,000 or millions of bonuses for AI engineers paid by Meta and all that. So these are the people that are, when you have that strong domain knowledge, and when you also are able to stack your AI skill set, these are the developers that companies are actually looking for. Because one of these guys, which we are looking to actually train and get our graduates to be one of those, where will actually replace like 15 developers that don't know how to use AI or don't know how to code, right? So this is a skill set that you actually leave with this bootcamp. Now, what if I fail and I'm not smart enough? We get this a lot. So the truth is that like you don't need to be smart to code, right? You don't need to be great at math to code. You don't need to be good at math even, right? You just need a structured roadmap. You need mentorship. Of course, you need accountability to make sure that you're actually doing the right work and you're doing it. And this is why we actually started Sigmaschool, right? So that we understand that you're not doing this alone, and you have people, the right people, that will actually show you the skill set and the ropes on how you actually can do it with AI skills and AI co-pilots to actually provide you with like constructive feedback, right? So the number one reason why most people fail is, like I mentioned, tutorial how. So information alone doesn't create change. If you're constantly watching videos, if you're constantly like just learning, reading, not doing anything, it doesn't change, or you won't learn as much, right? So this is where we see that if this is something that you actually have to do, which is continuous learning, and actually implement the things that you've actually watched and read, right? I see a question. Jack asks, does the fundamental will be taught in the class as well? Yes, because I realized when I code with AI, I can't understand the code when the bugs happen. Yes, this is exactly what we're facing right now. So yes, AI can do a lot. AI can actually be a very good MVP, very good skeleton and template for developers, but ultimately it's still for developers. So this is why we first, in the module 1, I can actually go back to that slide. This is why in module 1, we emphasize on the fundamentals, right? Before you even learn about AI, before you integrate AI, you first want to learn the fundamentals. This is where it's the base. So think of it like when you're building a house, you need a strong foundation. Without that foundation, anything you add on top pretty much crumbles down. So a strong foundation and the strong fundamentals of programming helps you understand what is AI even giving you, right? And even having a strong foundation, this is where you know exactly what to ask AI, and what to give it, what kind of commands, and what you need to do specifically for your use case and stuff. So AI is just not guessing. AI is not giving you, but AI is giving you direct skill, like specific features and specific things that you need in your code or whatever application you're building, right? Did that answer your question, Jack? Yep. So in yes, we do cover that as well. Yeah. So for those that are actually looking to, okay, this bootcamp sounds interesting. What we do is we have an admissions process. Now we only take in students that are actually going to fit a certain, you have to be eligible, where you have to actually be able to allocate time. And even if you want some flexibility, this is where our team will still be able to help you. And you would basically be, because I'm part of the admissions team, will be me or my team member would actually have to jump in a call, and we'll basically first have to understand, are we aligned in terms of like the what you're looking to get out of the bootcamp. Only we will accept students that are serious and would actually want to be using the skills to be interested in tech and also land a career, right? So if you're interested, you can just go ahead and scan this QR. This is where it will take you to a form, and then you'll schedule a call with us. We will speak with you, and then we also share with you like what are the bonuses you can get in the bootcamp and stuff like that, right? So for those that are still like looking around, still want to actually see what you can do, you can actually check out our free workshops. So this is actually one of our free events. This is a free info session. What we actually do is on a weekly basis, every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., we would have 3 beginner programming workshops and 1 info session. So this is the info session. For the next 3 weeks, it will be a series of beginner programming workshop where we would actually walk you through how to actually code, right? And what is the fundamentals of coding? Basically, the core fundamental things that you need to be even to read what AI is giving you as a code, right? So if you're interested to actually learn coding and learn like to get a taste of like, okay, coding sounds interesting, you want to try it out. To do this, you can go ahead and RSVP for our next event, basically on our website at sigmaschool.co.event, right? Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to paste a link for you guys so it'll be easier. So instead of like typing all the sites, okay, let me go ahead and share this. Let me pin it. Can everyone see the message in the chat? All right, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Faiz. All right, cool. So in the first link, it's basically the link to join our Discord. So our Discord is where you get all the updates, where you basically also see like, our events. So if you join our Discord, like previously, you probably see us in we literally had like a gaming session in there with our students that finished a heavy module. So we had it like at 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. today. So this is where our events will happen. This is where we will actually have like sessions, questions, we answer them, any feedback, even requests for features. This is all going to be happening in the Discord. And this is where all the techies will gather, right? So for the second link that I shared, that's going to be the free workshop link. So if you're interested to learn about like programming, you just want to get a taste of it, you guys can RSVP for that, right? For those that actually want to like, okay, I want to build projects by myself. I don't want to wait for the workshop. So you can go ahead and get our free starter pack. In this starter pack, we basically added like a complete roadmap on what you can actually start doing. We included 6 projects in 6 days. So as you see from the module 0, this is going to be the same module that we use to get our students ready before the bootcamp starts. So right now, if you're interested, you want to get ready, this is where you can get the coding starter pack and try it out for yourself, right? Completely free. So that will be the third link, the free coding starter pack, right? Now, the fourth link is where if you're interested, you've already attended a couple of our events, and you really want to just like dive into it and get your career in AI software engineering going, then you can actually start applying. You have to go through like the application process. Now, this is where we actually vet and see whether you pass the assessment and if you're going to be eligible, right? Now, let me go back. That is it. All right. Okay. This is the fun part. What we do here is we're going to have a picture time so you can see everyone turns on their camera. So this is where everyone, if you can, turn on your camera so that I can see your beautiful faces. And we'll take a screenshot to commemorate you coming over to this live event. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. Now, in the screen, the QR right now is the QR to pretty much give us your feedback, because we do run these events like regularly, like I mentioned. So the programming workshop is where you guys will get a taste of what programming is. So if you guys want to know about it, go sign up and RSVP for it. Also provide us the feedback if these are more events like these, even if you have ideas on future events that you want, like email, I want you to show me more about coding, or I want you to do specific thing, or Emil, can you turn off your camera? I don't like your face. Or I didn't turn off my filter. Yeah, any feedback, just go ahead and give us. That way we will know what to improve in our future events and so on, right? Right. And if you guys are interested, I really bookmarked the links in the chat. So to join our Discord is the first one. Free workshops, the RSVP for like programming workshops or even info sessions like these, coding starter pack, or if the fourth link is if you're interested in to join the bootcamp, you can go ahead and sign up to speak with our team. And then the fifth link will be giving us a feedback. All right. Now, floor is open up for anyone. Does anyone have any questions? Do you want to ask me anything? If no other questions, you guys are pretty much free to go. Okay, I cannot take myself seriously. I need to turn off my filter. Okay, filter off. Okay, for those that are still here, if you guys have any questions, you can type in the chat, unmute, go ahead. If not, you guys are pretty much free to go, right? So I guess some of you guys are like clicking the link, so take your time. Don't worry, at the end of the day, we will also be able to send you like the resources, like a resource pack at the end of the day. So you guys can check your email, and if you have any questions, you can email us or even go to our website and then WhatsApp us as well over there.
When are the boot camps held again? Every Wednesday, right?
Oh, okay. The boot camp is going to be cohort based. Now, these boot camps are going to be 3 months basis. For the every Wednesday, that one is going to be a beginner programming workshop. So in this beginner programming workshop, we are going to walk you through like the fundamentals of programming. So like what is a variable, what is a function, and the beginning stages. But the bootcamp is where we'll take you from beginner all the way to actually landing your job as a software engineer, AI software engineer.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that would be 3
when-
months.
When does it start? The beginner program thing?
Okay, so the beginner program, you can actually go ahead. So that happens next Wednesday. That will be the first module of like the beginning programming workshop. So you can go ahead and click the link in the chat, the second one. So when you see free workshop events, you can click that link. What it is basically sigmaschool.co/events. And you can RSVP for the one that's happening next week. Yeah, that will be the free beginner programming workshop.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.